At the age of 18, Desiigner dethroned Rihanna and Drake for the #1 song in the entire world. This now 8-time platinum hit Panda would also quickly lead to a record deal with his idol Kanye West, changing Desiigner's life forever. However, as we're about to see, changing it very negatively. Despite what seemed like such a promising career, today we honestly never hear about Desiigner anymore. Well, besides his recent viral airplane incident where he, quote, showed his magic stick to the flight attendants in a story so ridiculous it's almost hard to believe. But looking back, what actually caused Desiigner's historic downfall? Is Kanye West really the one to blame, or is he simply just another one-hit wonder? The truth is much deeper than it appears.
You know, I was going through like a little mental thing. I was coming up out of high school. My pops just went in a coma. This version of me is done. It's done. It's done! It's done! It's done! You already know what I want.
One thing Desiigner is definitely known for is his unique ad-libs, which he actually tried for the first time ever on Panda. The idea for this iconic single came while crashing cars on GTA. Inspired by the white BMW X6, which colors resemble that of a panda, and then paired with a $200 Meek Mill type beat his friend found on YouTube, 18-year-old Brooklyn rapper Desiigner was set to release one of the biggest songs of the year.
I've never been to Atlanta. I've never seen Atlanta. I've never smelled Atlanta.
Despite the opening bar, Desiigner had never been to Atlanta prior to recording the song, but according to him, the lyric's still true. I met this girl on Facebook who said she was from Atlanta, so I was like, alright bet, I got broads in Atlanta. As only the second song posted on his SoundCloud back in December of 2015, it wasn't long before Panda began raking in millions of organic streams. Basically off word of mouth, the song was spreading like crazy, and Desiigner immediately knew he had something special.
I was in the elevator, and then everybody was like, they looked at me. They're like, yo, you're #1. You feel me? I'm #1 on SoundCloud, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, cool.
However, as we'll see in a second, getting a hit song this big and this early in an artist's career is honestly a gift, but also a major curse. Along with Desiigner getting thrown into the mumble rap conversation came the many undeniable comparisons to another rapper, Future, which thanks to his deep voice and triplet flow, again they definitely did sound very similar. They say I sound like Future, but I tell them no, I am the future. Big ups to Future, he makes beautiful music too, Desiigner told Complex. I'm not a hater or a critic, I actually like his music. Although I think it's safe to say that Future didn't feel the same way.
His right side, y'all must be Desiigner fans or Sierra fans or some shit.
Regardless though, all of this would only help the song continue to blow up more and more every single day. There was simply no escaping Panda in 2016. However, while now looking back you could argue that he did do more harm than good, it wasn't until another artist stepped in and helped carry Panda to the #1 song in the world, Kanye West. At this time in 2016, Kanye was gearing up to drop his 7th studio album while also building his own record label, Good Music, something he'd soon go on to call, quote, the worst mistake of his career. But as Desiigner continued to take the internet by storm, his smash hit eventually caught the ear of Kanye, who instantly heard the potential. And despite, as Desiigner claims, an 11-label bidding war to sign him, all it took was one phone call from Kanye for his mind to be made.
Everything kind of like blacked out. Once I heard him saying he called, I ain't gonna lie, like, I'm like, word, because I'm so moving in like the moment. I just been through like 11 labels. It's late at night too, so I'm like, yo, I bet.
The two would first meet outside the LA airport after Kanye flew him out to pitch an idea. That idea being to use Desiigner's verses from Panda on The Life of Pablo. He played part 2 for me in the car at LAX in front of the paparazzi. We was vibing to it and he was like, yo, you f with that? I didn't have to go in and do more takes or nothing, he just took my song. I was like, hell yeah, Yeezy, I love it.
I met him at the airport actually, and the way he was just dancing to the music, I was like, this man, it's just pure feeling, energy, artistry, melody.
It was then officially announced at the iconic Yeezy Season 3 fashion show and listening party in February of 2016 that Desiigner had signed to Kanye's record label Good Music in partnership with Def Jam. They're definitely a great camp, said Desiigner of Kanye's team. The way they move at Good Music is strong and they stay united.
A few moments later.
We would then see Desiigner featured on 2 tracks off Kanye's chart-topping new album. Desiigner's signature ad-libs landed him a feature on Good Music's star-studded single, Champions, and also the Panda music video would finally drop with a cameo from Kanye himself. There was also a 15-minute Panda remix featuring verses from every Good Music artist, but as you'll notice the common theme forming here, it was announced by Kanye but then never happened.
And then also we're going to do a version of that song, which we have not titled yet. There's going to be like a 12, 15-minute version with every single Good Music artist on it.
All of this new attention, though, would help push Panda to the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100, 3 years before Future ever got his first #1, knocking off Drake and Rihanna's work, which had previously held the top spot for 9 weeks straight.
I didn't even know the billboards, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what none of that meant, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, for me just to hear like yesterday, yo, your song #1, all right? I'm like, how big is it? You know what I'm saying? I'm asking, how big is it?
But the year of 2016 just kept getting better and better for Desiigner, who, by the way, was still a high schooler. Following the success of his Grammy-nominated Panda, Desiigner was named to the legendary 2016 XXL Freshman list, alongside stars such as Lil Uzi Vert, 21 Savage, and Lil Yachty, to name a few. However, it was his polarizing freestyle which would not only instantly go viral, but also become the most viewed freestyle to date on XXL.
Timmy Turner, he was wishing for a burner.
Defying all expectations, this unique a cappella performance was met with very mixed reviews. Some, like me, loved it, while others thought it was a legit joke. But in an effort to capitalize on the massive hype, Desiigner would then release his highly anticipated follow-up single in June of 2016. As a full studio version of his XXL freestyle and with production handled by the GOAT Mike Dean, believe it or not, that fire Timmy Turner melody was actually inspired by an app on his phone.
You know, some FX video editor app, you know what I mean, that we used to have on our phones. The loading screen, bro, of the app, bro, had this melody. And every time I'd be on it, I was like, Timmy Turner, you wishing for a burner.
Along with Kanye then laying a verse on the Timmy Turner remix, Desiigner would also drop his debut mixtape New English in 2016, including the previously released Panda and Zombie Walk. The following year, 2017, saw him put out a string of solid singles such as Outlet, Up, and Life with Gucci Mane, as well as also a single with BTS and Steve Aoki. Not one of these came close to the hype of Panda, although that wasn't too surprising. However, it was 2018 when Desiigner got the first sign that he may have made the wrong decision. Despite announcing he was planning to drop 2 albums that year, all we would hear was a short EP titled LOD, which again kinda flopped. Now you're probably thinking Desiigner had his breakout single go #1 on the charts. He signed a record deal with one of the biggest artists out, Kanye West, and then he was named a 2016 XXL Freshman. How did he mess all that up? Well, as we're about to see, things went downhill very fast.
I signed to Kanye West, the biggest nigga, that nigga still in the world. Y'all niggas think he's the genius, I think all that nigga shit. Well, to me, nigga, that nigga's crazy, nigga.
Free me from this label, Desiigner tweeted after claiming that his label wasn't promoting him or letting him drop music. Desiigner noticed that neither his label mates nor Kanye himself were sharing his new mixtape like he'd done for the other Good Music EPs that same summer. I'm the new artist on the roster and I wasn't seeing anyone from my camp reposting my songs. I knew something was off. It was clear that Desiigner was frustrated with how he was being managed and in his eyes held back. However, the problem was he couldn't even get in touch with Kanye.
I tried to get in contact with Kanye. It'd be a million times hard to get in contact with him. I just be like, you know what I mean? I never signed up for that.
That's why I signed to Kanye. I wanted to be in there like, yo bro, here's what I've been putting together. There's records with Rick Ross and Pharrell, let me hear some pointers and get some advice from the OG, but I feel like I wasn't getting that at all. I was hitting my attorneys and they weren't able to contact him either. As time went on, it became pretty obvious that Kanye basically signed Desiigner to just use Panda on his album and then kind of forgot about him. Something we've definitely seen other good music artists also complain about too.
It was more like, Desiigner, you give me music, I jump on it, and when I need my situation done, nobody's there to answer for it. You know what I mean? It was just like, what the f?
Although it'd be one of the hardest things in the world to turn down an offer from Kanye West, I actually just made an entire video about the dangers of signing to another rapper, especially one as indecisive as Kanye. Running a record label was the biggest mistake I ever made, Kanye told Billboard. Desiigner knew he had to escape.
I didn't really get to speak to Kanye as much and shit, and then he wound up going Christian route and then the Trump route and shit. I'm just like, I just gotta get my situation right, you know what I mean?
Desiigner was finally released from Good Music in November of 2019, however the damage had already been done. His hype had significantly died down and fans seemed to care less about him by the day. Then despite plans to try and reignite his independent career, then came 2020 and the COVID pandemic, putting an abrupt stop to everything. And on top of it all, just to make matters even worse, at the time Designer's dad fell into a coma.
And that's what kind of threw me off with this shit. It's cause, you know, I was going through like a little mental thing. I was coming up out of high school, my pops just went in a coma. I was just like, you know what I mean? Like I was having a great time, but I just knew something at home was happening. You feel what I'm saying?
Desiigner has been really struggling with both his career and also his mental health these past few years, as it seemed like he truly couldn't catch a break. However, that still doesn't excuse what happened next. "I didn't get much cootie and was brick hard when I got on the plane," was the response that Desiigner told the FBI once his flight landed. According to the official affidavit here, on the night of April 17th, 2023, Desiigner, quote, "obscenely and indecently exposed his genitals and started masturbating in a public place." More specifically, that public place was while sitting first class on an international Delta flight home from Japan. About 60 to 90 minutes after takeoff, Flight Attendant 1 noticed Designer's was out of his sweatpants. She told them no. About 5 minutes later, they noticed it out again and he was beating off. They told him he was going to be arrested. A short time later, they saw it out a third time and ordered him to the back of the plane. When Desiigner stood up to move seats, a jar of Vaseline dropped in the aisle. "I saw a real great beautiful lady and I just kind of showed her my, magic stick. I thought I was giving her encouragement to keep pushing, you know what I mean? To keep striving for it."
Where he didn't really get much cootie. As a result, he said he was brick hard when he got on the plane.
Like I said, it's such a ridiculous story, but by no means does that make it cool at all. Once they landed, Desiigner apologized to the flight crew and authorities stated that he did not appear impaired or under the influence. And despite a lot of false reports, according to People magazine, Desiigner was not forced to register as a sex offender, which is honestly huge for any bit of hope he has left for a music career. Although he was charged with 1 count of indecent exposure and sentenced to 2 years of probation, which is by no means a good look either. For the past few months I have not been okay, and I've been struggling to come to terms with what's going on. While overseas for a concert, I had to be admitted into a hospital and was not thinking clearly. They gave me meds and I had to hop on a plane home. I am ashamed of my actions that happened on that plane. I am admitting myself into a facility and will be canceling any obligations until further notice. Mental health is real, guys. Please pray for me. The truth is, at this point, Desiigner needs to be prioritizing his mental health over his music career. Honestly, nobody in their right mind would do something so senseless like he did and whip it out with some Vaseline on an airplane, especially someone who had something to lose, as this has basically put a nail in his career. Along with other instances too, such as his multiple breakdowns on Instagram Live or throwing punches at fans at his show, it was clear that Desiigner needed some help, which it seems he is finally getting. As we just saw from his battle with Good Music and Kanye West while dealing with his father in a coma, in addition to also losing 2 of his close rapper friends, Takeoff and PNB Rock, Desiigner has been through a lot these past few years.
Why? Why did we do this? Why did we do this? This version of me is done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. That's a Takeoff, bro. It's done.
That was Desiigner claiming he was quitting rap following the news of Takeoff's murder. However, he would return a few months later with a new single. As of today, Desiigner's just been continuing to release singles every few months under his own label, LOD Records, but nothing has stuck at all. He even tried regaining any bit of hype he could with Timmy Turner 2 to little success. His last project was that mixtape now over 5 years ago, which that in itself is a big factor too in his decline. He hasn't dropped a debut album. With still over 4 million monthly listeners though, and with Panda over 1 billion streams on Spotify alone, as I've said for some of these other quote one-hit wonders I've covered such as Sheck West or CJ, a hit song that massive can literally set you up for life if you manage your money well. Not to mention countless artists work their entire lives and still never come close to the success of Panda. I honestly wouldn't even call Desiigner a one-hit wonder either, considering the fact he has 3 other platinum records. People tend to forget exactly how big Timmy Turner was too. While there's no doubt the industry did Desiigner dirty, and it definitely didn't help that he was 18 years old with no experience and blew up in a matter of days, you just gotta wonder where Desiigner would be if he hadn't signed to Kanye and instead went with one of those other 11 labels.
It was fun, but then it started to cause anxiety. I was young. I never was taught not to keep your emotions out the game because I was coming from a place where not too many people made it, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all we got is emotion in the hood.